morning. All right. Israel's coronavirus cabinet now meeting, set to be in fierce debate about whether and how to tighten restrictions during this 3-week coronavirus lockdown. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly is pushing for a full 2-week lockdown, likely to begin on Friday. Now, what would that lockdown look like? Well, protests and prayers, outdoors only in capsules of 20 people, up to 1 kilometer from home. And of course, the Yom Kippur holiday is due to come in over the weekend. Closure of businesses and non-essential workplaces, a further reduction of public transportation, no outgoing flights from Ben Gurion Airport, socializing only with your nuclear family. At-risk individuals will be urged to remain completely at home. There'll be an increased police presence on the street for enforcement. Well, for more, let's go to our diplomatic correspondent, Eli Hochenberg, who's in Herzliya. And Eli reports that a lot of serious debate in that coronavirus cabinet, especially over 2 sensitive issues, religious services in synagogues with the Yom Kippur holiday coming up, and those almost weekly or sometimes nightly protests, especially outside the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem. What do we know about that debate?
Well, we don't know what will be the end verdict of this debate, but we do know that the public's trust, in its elected representative is plunging by the second. And in this respect, extremely interesting data coming out this evening on these specific issues from Israel's Channel 12. When the public was asked whether they're supporting the ban on protest, as you said, one of the hot button topics that are currently being debated on, 70% of the public said yes, protests should be banned at this point in time. When asked about whether prayers in synagogues should be banned, even though it's the high season of Jewish holidays, no less than 60%, Calev, of the public said yes, this is the time to ban massive prayers, even if it is a sensitive time. And perhaps a very interesting piece of information: when asked who is to blame when it comes to this crisis that only appears to be deteriorating, public says, 48% rather, said the public is to blame because it is not following the instructions, because everyone's trying to maneuver around it. 42% said the government is to blame. So I think that if we're looking at this now 2-day long debate over these issues, Israeli politicians are simply unable to make a decision, even though the public is very clear about it. We're willing to bear the consequences. We're willing to deal with those unusual circumstances due to this unusual time. Ban the prayers, ban the protests, and let's simply find an exit point. This is what the public has to say. What the Corona cabinet will say at the end of this discussion, we still don't know, Calev.
Right, and I just want to bring up a few figures that we've heard, Eli, because we're talking about shutting down now almost all workplaces except those few deemed essential, and now reports that will cost 35 billion shekels. We're talking about $10 billion. That's a huge hit for the Israeli economy, for sure.
Indeed, and now we're seeing this long-standing debate, or rather confrontation, between health officials and financial officials, saying what is worse, to compromise the already shaky Israeli economy, to risk the collapse of many sectors of the Israeli economy, or have one solution, a very strict closure that will perhaps end this, again, a deteriorating crisis, and will allow an Israeli decision maker to start anew to an extent. And we're seeing this debate continuing in these discussions this evening, even though the protests and the prayers took center stage. Of course, the economic aspect of yet another full closure is very much on the table. And again, this is still ongoing, and the timetable is extremely pressing as well, Calev, as tomorrow, Thursday, Thursday, Parliament will have to convene in a special plenum session to approve any measures that will or will not be agreed upon today. So again, the timetable is extremely tight, and the public's impatience perhaps is also rising. They'll simply have to find a way to do it tonight, Calev.
Right. Well, there's some strong medicine being prescribed here, but with nearly 7,000 new cases in 24 hours, clearly something has to be done to get this under control. Ellie Hochenberg, thank you for joining us on The Rundown.